Hi, this is John Hand, and the Pulsing Cinema movie of the day is Don't Look Now, the 1973 Nicholas Roeg horror film, psychic thriller, murder mystery. You could describe it as many things. The title, to begin with, Don't Look Now, is dangerous and alluring and puzzling. It's kind of like the title Eyes Wide Shut. I mean, it doesn't quite make logical sense as far as the plot, but on a kind of subterranean level, on a basic level, it works. It's a warning, and definitely the characters in this film kind of need a warning. They need a wake-up call. So the film is primarily about a couple, the Baxters, played by Julie Christie and Donald Sutherland, who suffer a horrible loss, the death of one of their children, their daughter. And John Baxter, the husband, goes to Venice, and he settles in with his wife, and he's restoring a church, a historic church. Working under a bishop, restoring a church. And one day in a restaurant, they meet these pair of old women, one of them who's blind. And these women say that they meet up with Julie Christie, and they tell her that they can talk to her dead daughter. And so this kind of sets off a chain of events where Christie and Donald Sutherland begin to investigate this. They come in further contact with these old women, and at the same time there are a series of murders in Venice, which is really in the background. We don't really see it in the foreground, but we see women being dredged and pulled out of the water and all these things. So definitely the marriage is in a very perilous situation because of the death of the child, and the film goes on and develops and eventually climaxes in this quite incredible scene where Donald Sutherland kind of marches to his own doom. I mean, man. It's like any Nicholas Roeg film in that it's kind of maddening in that the way Nicholas Roeg shoots a film, which is just beautiful. And I mean, his films like Bad Timing and Don't Look Now and Insignificance and Performance. Oh my God, Performance! This was just right after Performance, and it really is the editing style of this film is almost as radical as Performance in some ways. It's the way he edits films is that it's this really fragmented, non-linear at times way of the past, time strains of the past, present, and future, all kind of commingling in this plot, which is in itself, a linear plot, but there are all these kind of non-linear digressions into flashbacks and maybe flash forwards and all kinds of different cinematic tricks. And it really works in a film like this, where there is the feeling that this John Baxter character, this Donald Sutherland character, actually has some kind of precognition, that he can sense things, and that maybe he sensed the death, the impending death of his daughter. And the film is full of so many ideas and parallel actions and illusions and all of these the symbolism of reflections and mirrors and doubles and mistaken identity throughout the film. People are mistaken for other people, and the big mistaken identity in the film is the red, the woman in red, this little thing in red. The red rain suit that Donald Sutherland begins to chase through Venice. The setting of Venice, oh my God, what a spooky and scary setting. I think Venice gets very dark and quiet at night. because it's a big European city. It's not open to automobile traffic, and there's probably not a lot of street lamps. And I think it gets very dark and quiet at night, and there just is this kind of atmosphere of dread and impending death, and it's not a very good it's not a very good promotion for Venice tourism. You know, you've got like roving killers and people coming to all horrible ends and such. So it's not a very happy vision of Venice. It's a Venice that is old and has a lot of secrets, and it has a lot of winding alleys that these characters can chase each other through. Oh man. There's so many different ways to interpret the film, and there's so many interpretations online. I mean, just like most Nick Roeg films, you could just it has this very rich approach, almost like a novel, whereas you could see different ideas and different theories and different concepts. You know, every scene has this kind of complex subtext, it seems. I think many people seem to come to this idea that the Donald Sutherland character, while outwardly he's a very strong, rational, he has that facade, you know, of the strong husband, the rational person, not going to deal with any of this nonsense. His daughter is dead. It seems like, you know, given the flashbacks, given the things that we see, it seems like the death of his daughter really affected him to a great extent. And then many people say that there are many theories that basically, and we're going to go through some heavy spoilers here so you can stop it, that Donald Sutherland's character basically causes his own death by ignoring his intuition, ignoring his kind of his spidey sense, his precognitive gift, as the old women call it, and eventually, marching to his own doom in that final scene with the midget with the razor knife there, which was. And then that crash of images as he bleeds out in slow motion. It's just a beautiful scene, and all set to the beautiful, romantic yet sad soundtrack of the Pino Donaggio, who, De Palma's composer, who scored this film just really brilliantly. I think this was one of Pino Donaggio's first film scores. I think he was more of a rock musician in a different area of the music industry, and he kind of got moved into to scoring films. I think I've heard something like that. Oh man, personally I've always thought, and after rewatching the film recently, I've thought that the Donald Sutherland character wants to die. That he's so heartbroken by the murder of his daughter that I think he marches willingly to his own doom. I think so. I think he's looking for something, and I think he eventually finds it. I think that's a sad way of thinking about it, but I think the character is, right from the point that he's in Venice, and all signs are just to get out. And everything is like, it's been prophesized that bad things are going to happen if you stay here, and then there's all of this imagery of the whole scene where he's falling and all of that. That's a horrible scene, really, and he flail around up there, and oh man, crazy scene. There's so many scenes in this movie that are scary, and the final scene with the midget, that's scary. And then I never understood. He's talking to the midget, and then the midget turns around and then like shakes his head no. I always wondered why the midget shakes his head no. So the midget is like, no, you don't know me, or sorry guy, you're in the wrong place, And then how the hell did the midget get out of this locked house, locked building? Did they catch the midget? I don't know. we'll never know. It's not part of the story, right? I mean, and a great story that is. I've never read the original story it's based on, written by Daphne du Maurier of all those Hitchcock adaptations. Because 3 of her stories, I believe, were adapted by Hitchcock: Rebecca, Jamaica Inn, and The Birds, most strikingly. So a film with so many different meanings and so many different... And I also wondered, another mystery I always wondered, is that early on, the first kind of touch of murder that we see, of the sense there may be some ominous presence here in Venice, is when Julie Christie and Donald Sutherland are going down that boat, and Julie Christie, there's police activity in this house, and Julie Christie, isn't that where you... Yeah? I don't know, maybe I wasn't paying enough attention, but I don't know what Julie Christie weren't you, almost like she's going to say, weren't you there before? You know, almost trying to bring up, like, at that moment I thought Donald Sutherland was trying to be brought up as a red herring at this point, that maybe he's doing the murders or something. And I thought that the film may go into a conventional kind of giallo murder mystery type thing, which you could put on the film. I mean, if you're into Italian murder mysteries, you could see the film within this context, and you know, there's all kinds of weird giallos like the Bloodstained Shadows and stuff like, which are, you could see as almost like a more hyped up conventional version of something like Don't Look Now. But the final product of Don't Look Now, from this British, you know, really avant-garde feature filmmaker, Nicholas Roeg, the results that we get are quite incredible. And then, of course, you know, we've got to talk about the nude scene, the Julie Christie, Donald Sutherland controversial nude scene. Many years people thought they were really having sex, and you know, rewatching it again, it's really not that it's not that big of a deal. It's pretty much an R-rated nude scene. It's I think that was more of a promotional angle than anything, and just kind of drum up some press and maybe take people's minds off the fact that this was going to be such a strange mindfuck of a movie. Okay, no, it's not a strange mindfuck of a movie. It's just got an X-rated scene in it. That's it. You know, that's cool. Whereas, you know, if you were really to promote the film as this confusing kind of occult horror psychodrama type thing that it is, I think that might freak some people out. And ultimately, the movie is a scary film. Ultimately, the movie is just, there's this pervading sense of dread. You know, I mean, I think an audience, even a general audience here, not familiar with British film or Rogue film or whatever, could get something out of it, because it's just a spooky, scary film. Yeah, so Donald Sutherland, Nick Roeg, Don't Look Now. Whoa, spooky, scary film.